I was scammed by a well-known Chevy dealer at auction. Being one of the former top Chevrolet salesmen in the country, when I bought this GMC Yukon from a very well-known Chevy dealer who I thought was honest and ethical, with all of my time dealing with them, I knew I was scammed as soon as the vehicle pulled up on the lot. The very first thing that I noticed, and I screamed out, dude, the thing's got a temp tag on it. Let's go out here and take a look at this, and guess what's also here? Yes, we have Toys for Tots boxes back. We're gonna top last year's donation levels with your help. So buy a toy, ship it to Mike's car store, and we'll donate it in your name. So you guys know I talk about this all the time, that we are buying a vehicle from a franchise dealer that sells these brand new, and I'm always skeptical on it. But I'll tell you what, I'm absolutely more skeptical when it pulls off and there's a freaking temp tag on this car. That means that they sold this to a customer, the customer brought it back, and now they're selling it to us through auction. So I want to share a couple of things with the temp tag. Indiana issues temp tags for 45 days. So that is 10/23/23 expiration. We bought this vehicle on September 19th. We received the vehicle from the dealer because they were so close on September 19th. So if you go back 45 days from 10/23, that means September 8th. That means basically 10 days prior, this vehicle was sold, a temp tag was made so the customer could drive off the lot and go home and do whatever they want to do with their new vehicle. And then allegedly, it was brought back and then sold to us at auction. And my shock wasn't over. When I hopped in the door like this, I found something in here that was completely 100% shocking. And as I tell you, we're shocked. We get that Ford Explorer over here, and it's got a year date on the windshield. Are you kidding me? What? Why? Why? They have a sticker on it showcasing the year. They've got a stock number on it, 80,000 miles, and it's now sold at auction, and we buy it. Oh yeah, look at that. Plastic on the floors. The vehicle is fairly clean. Yeah, this was on a dealership's lot somewhere. So we'll have to drive this and see what's going on. These infamously have transmission issues, but I know how to fix it. So back to what I found inside the vehicle. This was a dead giveaway, and it was literally the rock to my case that I could absolutely bust this dealer to ensure that I know that they purposely scam me. Inside the vehicle, I find a branded letter opener for the dealership and the salesman, and I find something pretty interesting on there. And then we find trinkets that probably the dealership gives their customers as freebies, because I would certainly think that these are not inside their vehicle. But back to the letter opener I found, there's a cell phone number on there. So what do I decide to do? I decide to text that salesman that's on that cell phone number, because I want to know exactly what's going on with this car. And if this dealership is truly trying to scam me, I want proof, because the only way that I get proof and to make sure that I don't get harmed before arbitrating a vehicle through auction is to let the auction know that this dealership is truly scamming them 100%. Now, I will say this auction that we buy these cars from, who I love this auction completely 100%, because they do such a great job of showing the vehicles. They don't drive the cars. So this dealership knows that. So if there's a transmission issue on this car, they're not gonna find it. And then they're like, whoop, it's off of us, because we as a dealership, if I were to sell this vehicle again through this same auction house, I'm not held responsible for its condition, because they do such a thorough job. So the dealership knows that, and they're going to take advantage of what I think is a downfall of this auction of not driving it and whatnot. But I understand there's insurance issues as well with driving them out on the road and getting them up to speed and stuff like that. So let me show you what I text the salesman, because this is genius. So the first thing I do is I text him like the red GMC Yukon XL. Why'd the customer bring it back after the sale? I'm just going all out. I am just swinging for the fences, because I truly believe that this vehicle definitely left the lot 100%. The customer bought it, and they got out there, found the transmission issue in this car, which sometimes does not come up for 25 or 30 miles, and then that's when they come back and they bring it back. A long time went by, an hour went by, and he said, bad train. And I was like, thanks for the response, as in transmission or what, just want to fix it properly. So I'm making sure that he knows that I'm just like really just searching for the proper fix. Now, one thing that we have already found on this vehicle is there's been a lot of work done on this vehicle. New oil pan, new tires, which tires on this car are extremely expensive. The dealership spent a lot of money on this car. So in a nutshell, now that we know that there's a bad trans in this car, they're looking at over $5,000 to fix this transmission. So now they're like, wait a second, we're just throwing money at this car and we don't want to do that. So I was like asking, you know, I want to fix it properly. So it's transmission or torque converter. We didn't diagnose it exactly. It was wholesaled today. And then I think he caught on, because then he's like, it never left the dealership. Liar, 100% liar. I just replied, got you, thanks. There's no reason for me to get into it, but I can guarantee you that this person is lying. And the reason I know that they're lying is based off of their stock numbers on their vehicle. With 24 years in the car business, I know how dealers do their stock numbers. This particular stock number was 700-274 on the brand new vehicle that they originally sold. That brand new vehicle that they originally sold at this Chevy dealership actually had a trade-in. That trade-in was purchased and this GMC Yukon was bought. So therefore we have 700-274B. The vehicle beforehand would have been labeled A as a trade-in, and then this one is B. On the back, there is a sticker with a barcode and a stock number. I also found in the vehicle another sticker with the mileage on the vehicle, and the mileage was substantially lower, almost like 80 miles lower than what was on the odometer when we bought the car. Now that is a huge red flag, because what basically is happening is the dealership is unwinding the deal. So the original miles at trade-in of this GMC Yukon is gonna stay in the system, not the 80 plus miles that the customer drove before they returned it. All right, so now all I have to do is get the transmission inspected. So I use Mr. Transmission here in Clarksville, Indiana, and they've got a few locations, and I've actually sold the owner a couple cars over the years, C7, C8, all that good stuff. So they do really, really good work, and you can see their lot is freaking packed here. That just tells you how many transmission issues there are on cars, and there's nothing here. Like I know there's a Chevy right there, and people are be like, oh, Chevy, 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 right? But there's Ford, there's Lincoln, there's Kia, there's another Ford, there's a Honda over there, there's a Toyota minivan over there. So it's like every car out there is having transmission problems. It's absolutely insane. And these things are crazy expensive to fix. This one, we're gonna find out what it's gonna cost to fix, but I know it's not gonna be cheap. All right, Grant's back, and how does it look, Grant?
Looks awesome.
Does it? How far did you drive it?
17 miles or so.
We take these things on a 17-mile test drive, and I would, one, say that there's probably no dealer in the country that actually takes their vehicles on a 17-mile test drive. That's what he drives it. I just got done driving it a couple miles, and then Rich will drive it too. And I'd like to take this moment and pause. And I did call for a flyover of the Black Hawk helicopter, so those guys are awesome. Anyways, I thought I found an issue with the rear seat back here when I was taking pictures, and turned to find out that it wasn't an issue. This seat right here was not going up and stuff like that. And the reason why, you can see I got the floor mats here. Well, actually the floor mats were stuck under this right here. You can kind of see how that's moving right there. They were stuck under that, and it wouldn't come up or go down. Luckily I found that, and it would be very interesting to know if they're like, hey, let's just get rid of this thing. That third row seat's wacky. We don't want to mess with it. But literally we drove it, and there is no issues with this exploder, which is very good. All right, so there it goes. It's out of here. We're making the dealer take it back, so that way we don't have any more risk with it. And one thing I do want to point out is that this comment right here was dead on. Grant took this on his test drive, pointed out the suspension to us. I drove it. I was in a little bit of denial, but ultimately we came to the conclusion that the suspension was in fact bad. Now we're talking thousands of dollars more to fix this vehicle on top of the transmission. So it is not fair to us to take this vehicle. It's not fair to the auction to have to pay for this, so that's why we sent it back to the Chevy dealership that scammed us. And I will point out that it was not my former employer, but if you do happen to come across the 2016 GMC Yukon in Southern Indiana area, make sure you run right away.